I think personally, I think they've separated their professional lives, but I think what's really a great problem for them now, as of the last few weeks, is that Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
Diana's inheritance gone. The polo drama not going to be made. A couple, quote, wildly unhappy with goals that have diverged in a way that may be, quote, impossible to reconcile.
Well, you know, Piers, you're the first person to say how limited Prince Harry is, unfortunately, and how his wife trades off her husband's fame and fortune, or not so great fortune now. I mean, this is the problem, but we're still interested because, after all, he's a great character in our modern day.
For years, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have remained at the centre of endless headlines, but every so often, one report stands out from the rest. This time, it wasn't a celebrity magazine or a tabloid making waves. Instead, a respected publication released a report that immediately sparked fresh debate about where Harry's life is heading and what may really be happening behind the scenes. Because when a publication known for careful reporting chooses its words so deliberately, people tend to pay attention. According to reporting published by the Wall Street Journal, people familiar with Prince Harry's situation described him as being wildly unhappy. That phrase quickly became one of the biggest talking points surrounding the Duke of Sussex. While the publication did not present itself as making a personal judgment, the reported description has fueled widespread discussion about Harry's current circumstances and whether life has unfolded the way he once expected. It's important to remember that reports like these rely on unnamed sources, so they should be viewed as claims rather than confirmed facts. Even so, many royal commentators believe this report carries more weight than the typical celebrity rumour because of the publication involved and its editorial standards. That's one reason the article has generated so much attention across both the media and royal watchers alike.
The other reason the divorce talk came up is the recent Wall Street Journal article. And the very last line of the Wall Street Journal article was, if Harry ever wants to get remarried again, he's going to have to ask William for permission. Now, the Wall Street Journal is not the type of publication to just throw that in. To me, it smacked, they had several people saying how unhappy the couple are, how unhappy Harry is.
Rather than making a dramatic public statement himself, Harry has remained largely silent about recent speculations surrounding his private life. That has left commentators analysing reports from journalists and people said to be familiar with the situation. Whether those reports fully reflect reality is something only those directly involved truly know. But they have certainly reignited conversations about Harry's future, his marriage, and his relationship with the royal family. One detail from the report especially caught the attention of royal observers. Near the end of the article, the discussion turned to royal rules surrounding future marriages. It noted that if Harry were ever to marry again, royal procedures connected to the line of succession could come into play. That single observation immediately became one of the most discussed parts of the article, with many commentators wondering why it was included at all. Some royal analysts believe the mention was simply intended to explain constitutional rules that still technically apply to members of the royal family who remain in the line of succession. Others have suggested it may have been included because conversations about Harry's future are becoming more active among people close to him. Neither interpretation has been officially confirmed, but the wording has certainly encouraged plenty of debate.
The insider revealed Meghan has made it clear that if and when they do split, she would demand a hefty settlement and to keep her royal title. She won't go anywhere unless it's with a title, property, and a huge sack of money. Meghan will make a deal to protect herself. Wow. Tasha is with me now.
Yeah.
This is astonishing, but remember, it comes just weeks after that Vanity Fair bombshell that Meghan is already shopping the post-divorce book to publishers.
Although Prince Harry stepped away from royal duties several years ago and now lives in California, he still remains a prince and continues to be part of the line of succession. Because of that, certain constitutional rules connected to royal marriages still technically exist, even if they rarely become part of public discussion. That's why many readers viewed this section of the article as much more than an ordinary legal explanation. Royal commentator Paula Froelich also weighed in on the report, arguing that the Wall Street Journal is generally not a publication that inserts details without a reason. In her view, the inclusion of that particular point appeared intentional rather than accidental. She suggested it could reflect broader conversations taking place behind the scenes, although she acknowledged that only the people involved know exactly what has been discussed. That is one reason this latest report has been treated differently from many previous rumours surrounding Harry and Meghan. Earlier stories about their relationship often came from less established outlets or relied on speculation that was easy for supporters and critics alike to dismiss. This report, however, has prompted a much wider conversation because of where it appeared and the careful way it was presented. The timing has also caught people's attention. Over the past few years, Harry and Meghan have faced constant public scrutiny over their business ventures, media projects, and future plans. As some commercial partnerships have changed and new projects continue to develop, many commentators believe the pressure on the couple has only grown. Whether those pressures are connected to the claims made in the reports remains unknown, but they have certainly become part of the larger discussion that continues to surround the Sussexes.
My understanding is that there are members of the family who are very aware of the fact that the marriage is problematic.
The couple's goals have quietly diverged. Harry wants privacy and reconciliation. Meghan wants scale, visibility, and reinvention. She would never allow the quieter life Harry craves.
One reason this report has generated so much discussion is because many commentators believe it reaches far beyond Harry's personal situation. According to those observers, it also raises questions about the public image that Harry and Meghan have presented over the past several years. Whether those concerns are justified is open to debate, but the conversation has clearly shifted in a noticeable way. Since stepping away from royal duties, Harry and Meghan have often emphasized the idea of building a new life together in California. Their documentaries, interviews, public appearances, and various business projects have all reflected that message to different degrees. Supporters see their journey as one of independence and resilience, while critics argue that the public narrative has become increasingly difficult to maintain as new reports continue to emerge. Because of that, some royal commentators believe the recent reporting could have wider implications than simply creating another headline. If people begin questioning whether the couple are truly on the same page, it naturally changes how future projects may be viewed. Again, none of this confirms anything about their private relationship, but public perception has always played a major role in the Sussexes' media presence. Over the years, Meghan has often been described as someone who pays close attention to communication, branding, and public presentation. Throughout periods of intense media scrutiny, she has continued launching new initiatives while adapting to changing circumstances. Regardless of differing opinions about those efforts, few would argue that managing public attention has become a significant part of life for both Harry and Meghan.
And so he became hypersensitive and blamed the media for the crashes of his relationships, never thinking that they could have something to do with himself. So he's a very complicated, depressed, unintelligent man who is seeking a role and has got really nobody on whom he could rely, which is in the end where Meghan stepped in. I mean, a needy man met a woman who could help him with his needs.
Meghan herself.
And Meghan herself.
In the months before she met Harry, was setting up paparazzi pictures in London. She now acts as if the paparazzi are literally the devil incarnate.
She begged the paparazzi to photograph her and they wouldn't. And when they did, she says, "Oh, I don't want to, I'm hurt." And that ridiculous story about how they first met, the whole thing was a tissue of inaccuracies, to be polite.
Well, because what do you make of that? Because as you know, Harry was always very insistent.
That's why many analysts believe this latest report creates an unusual challenge. Unlike criticism from tabloids or opinion columnists, this discussion has come from a publication that many readers associate with detailed reporting rather than celebrity speculation. As a result, some commentators believe it may be more difficult to dismiss, which is one reason the story has continued spreading across international media. Another point frequently raised by royal observers is that many of Harry and Meghan's commercial ventures have centered around telling their own story. From documentaries to interviews and public speaking engagements, audiences have largely been invited to follow their journey as a couple navigating major life changes. If public confidence in that shared story begins to weaken, some analysts believe it could influence how future projects are received. And that doesn't necessarily mean anything dramatic is about to happen. Relationships often face rumours that never become reality, especially when they involve globally recognised public figures. However, commentators note that once questions about a couple's future begin appearing in widely respected publications, every new appearance together tends to receive even greater scrutiny than before. People also point out that photographs, interviews, and joint appearances are now being examined through a different lens. Rather than simply focusing on the event itself, many viewers are comparing every interaction against the recent reports to see whether they notice signs that support or contradict the ongoing speculation. Fair or not, that level of attention often follows public figures whose private lives become major news stories. Adding even more intrigue is the continued discussion surrounding reports that Meghan has, according to various media claims over the years, kept detailed personal records of important events throughout her time in the royal family and afterward.
The plan for the post-divorce book was to not only throw the British royal family under the bus, but to throw Harry under the bus too. If she writes the book, because we know she's got the secret diaries, she's going to have to be nice about him. Whereas the plan for the post-divorce book was to throw the British royal family under the bus. How does she then, during the divorce battle, say, oh no, he was actually a really bad husband, he didn't support me? Because his legal team will be able to say, well, no, sorry, here on page 155, you said Harry was great.
These claims have never been officially confirmed by Meghan herself, and the exact nature of any personal notes or journals remains unknown. Even so, the subject continues to resurface whenever speculation about the couple's future gains momentum. Some royal commentators have even suggested that such records, if they exist, could eventually become the basis for another memoir or major media project. Others dismiss those claims as little more than ongoing rumour. At this stage, there is no public confirmation that any such project is planned. Still, the combination of recent reporting, renewed media attention, and continuing speculation has left many royal watchers wondering what the next chapter for Harry and Meghan could look like, and why so many new questions seem to be emerging at the same time. According to several royal commentators, the discussion doesn't stop with questions about the marriage itself. Some believe there has also been long-running speculation about what either Harry or Meghan might choose to do if their paths were ever to separate. None of those scenarios have been confirmed, but they continue to be debated whenever new reports about the couple emerge.
Meghan has nowhere to go. I would have agreed with you on the 10-year if there was a willing billionaire. She would only leave for a step up.
Why are people...
like if Jack Dorsey all of a sudden said, Meghan, you're my dream date, she'd be like, bye, Harry, see ya. Yeah. You can have the kids. But that's not happening.
No,
so
she's not trading
she doesn't
up.
have a step up.
One recurring claim involves the possibility of another memoir. Over the years, various media outlets have suggested that Meghan may have kept detailed notes about major events in her life, both during and after her time as a working royal. Those reports remain unverified, but they have fueled ongoing speculation that such material could one day become the basis for another book. Whether that ever happens is impossible to know, yet the topic continues to resurface whenever public attention shifts back to the Sussexes. Some commentators argue that releasing a book while still married could create a complicated situation. If a memoir were published during the marriage, many believe it would naturally need to present Harry in a generally balanced or positive light, especially if the couple wished to avoid adding even more public scrutiny to an already closely watched relationship. Others disagree with that interpretation, but it illustrates how many different theories now surround the couple's future. Because of that, several royal analysts believe timing could become just as important as the content itself. If any future memoir or personal account were ever released, people would almost certainly compare it against previous interviews, documentaries, and public statements. Every new detail would be examined alongside what has already been said over the past several years, making consistency a major talking point. Beyond the personal speculation, many commentators have also shifted their focus toward the Sussexes' business ventures. Since relocating to California, Harry and Meghan have signed several high-profile media partnerships designed to support their independent careers. Some projects attracted significant attention, while others generated mixed reactions from both audiences and industry observers.
Has the fairy tale Prince Harry and Meghan Markle embarked on in 2016 become an absolute nightmare for them? Despite marrying in St. George's Chapel in Windsor, it seems like life hasn't been so rosy for the couple. They have gone through endless challenges, the vast majority of which are all self-inflicted. And this weekend, we had some new news that seems to kind of reiterate the idea that Meghan Markle, she wants to go back to the past. She wants to relive her glory days because she has hired Sunshine Sachs as her new PR representatives, who are representing her back in 2016. And at the same time, Harry is in the UK fighting for a court case that really has no bearing on any of this, but we have heard endlessly that he wants to reestablish himself.
One widely discussed example was the end of the couple's partnership with Spotify. After the agreement concluded, the decision sparked extensive media coverage and prompted renewed debate about the long-term direction of the Sussexes' business strategy. Since then, commentators have continued questioning which projects may come next and how their overall media portfolio might evolve. Attention has also remained on their relationship with Netflix. While the partnership has produced multiple projects, analysts continue to speculate about what future collaborations could look like and whether audience demand will remain as strong as it was during the couple's first years outside the royal family. Those questions remain unanswered, but they have become a regular feature of conversations surrounding Harry and Meghan.
They need the money, and they need it now more than ever because they've got no other source of income. They're tied to Netflix, they're tied to their book, and all the criticism they're going to take means nothing because that's the only way they can earn their money.
The executives at Penguin Random House are fielding near weekly calls from the Sussex camp asking for more money. They think there are royalties, but there aren't. Penguin overpaid, and with marketing, printing, and other costs, even with millions of copies sold, they will never earn out or get royalties. Harry has a fundamental disconnect to the concept of money, and certainly that money can indeed run out.
Another topic generating discussion involves the publishing industry. Prince Harry's memoir Spare became a global bestseller and sold millions of copies worldwide. However, some reporters and publishing commentators have claimed that large publishing deals involve complex financial arrangements that extend well beyond simple book sales. Because of that, outside observers often caution against assuming that headline figures tell the entire story behind a publishing contract. There have also been reports suggesting that future publishing opportunities may not look exactly the same as they once did. Some industry insiders, speaking anonymously to journalists, have claimed that publishers are becoming more cautious when evaluating projects connected to the Sussexes. Those reports have not been publicly confirmed by the companies involved, but they have added another layer to the broader discussion about Harry and Meghan's future business prospects. Whether those predictions prove accurate remains to be seen. What is clear is that nearly every new report now connects two major questions at once: the future of Harry and Meghan's public image and the future of the business ventures that have supported their life outside the royal family. As more stories continue to surface, many royal watchers believe those two subjects are becoming increasingly difficult to separate. As the discussion has continued, another topic has started receiving just as much attention as the marriage itself. This time, many commentators are looking at the practical side of Harry's situation rather than simply asking whether the recent reports are accurate. If the claims about his unhappiness were ever proven to reflect reality, what options would actually be available to him? That question has opened an entirely new conversation. Several royal analysts point out that Harry's life today is very different from the one he left behind in the United Kingdom. After relocating to California, he and Meghan established both their home and much of their professional life in the United States. Over the past few years, they have built business relationships, community ties, and family routines centered around that decision. Because of that, any major life change would likely involve far more than simply choosing where to live. Legal commentators have also noted that family law in California can make international family situations especially complex.
Harry was so stupid to move away because obviously it means the jurisdiction is in California, which is bad for him. So it's virtually impossible for him to come back. He's trapped.
They said that they will remain married until both children are 18 because of that 100%. Whether he is miserable or not. Listen, you and I both know people who stay married for the children and they are in a miserable marriage until the children go to college and then it drops. But I don't think that Harry would ever leave those children. And so he's stuck in California and he doesn't have any friends, really.
While every case depends on its own facts and circumstances, issues involving children, residence, and custody are often far from straightforward. For that reason, many observers believe that any significant changes to the family's living arrangements would almost certainly require careful legal consideration rather than quick decisions. Another point frequently raised by royal experts is Harry's ongoing connection to the royal family. Although he stepped back from official royal duties, he remains a prince and continues to attract worldwide attention. That means any personal decision involving him is likely to become international news almost immediately, creating a level of public scrutiny that very few people ever experience. Some commentators believe that this combination of family responsibilities, legal considerations, and global attention could make any future decisions especially difficult. Others argue that much of the speculation goes far beyond the publicly available facts. At this stage, only Harry and Meghan know what conversations, if any, are taking place behind closed doors. Even so, many royal watchers continue comparing Harry's current life with the one he had before moving to California. During his years as a working royal, he maintained close relationships with members of the military, charitable organisations, and longtime friends from different stages of his life. Since relocating, public appearances with many of those former connections have become much less common, leading some commentators to wonder how much his personal circle has changed over time. Questions have also been raised about Harry's relationship with his family in the United Kingdom. Reports over the past several years have described periods of distance between Harry, King Charles, and Prince William, although the exact nature of those relationships remains private. Because little official information is shared, nearly every new report tends to generate another wave of speculation about whether reconciliation is becoming more or less likely.
As he gave some testimony today in his lawsuit against the Daily Mail, claiming that they've made his wife's life an absolute misery. Well, Harry, I'm sorry, why does that have any bearing on this case at all? You're talking about articles that were written between 2001 and 2013, 3 years before you allegedly met your wife. So what does Meghan have anything to do with this trial? Well, as the answer turns out, it has everything to do with Prince Harry's motivation and his miserable existence right now, because his wife is miserable, she's making his life miserable, and everybody's living in absolute misery. And Harry only has himself to blame, because no matter if he wins this trial or not, he's still going to be miserable. I am going to do a deep dive into Meghan Markle's abysmal performance on Netflix. It's really bad, guys. She lost 60+% of her audience between season 1 and 2 of With Love, Meghan. That's really, really bad. So definitely something to go over. But obviously with everything going on with Harry today, I feel like it's a need to talk about his big boy man tears. He's so emotional, guys. His poor wife, she lives in misery in her $16 million mansion with her 4.4 million followers on Instagram.
Lifestyle differences have become another recurring topic. Some analysts believe Harry has always appeared most comfortable focusing on charitable work, veterans' causes, and smaller public engagements. Others suggest Meghan has continued pursuing larger media and entertainment opportunities in California. These observations are based largely on public appearances and reported opinions, not confirmed statements from the couple themselves, but they have become part of the broader debates surrounding their future. Commentators also continue discussing reports about the Sussex household and daily life in Montecito. Various media outlets have published different claims over the years regarding staff, security, and their overall lifestyle, but many of those reports rely on anonymous sources and have never been independently confirmed. As a result, they should be viewed with appropriate caution rather than accepted as established fact. Perhaps the biggest reason this latest report has resonated so strongly is because many people see it as fitting into a much larger timeline. Instead of focusing on one isolated headline, royal observers are now looking back at the past several years as a whole, comparing interviews, public appearances, business decisions, and recent reporting to see whether they reveal a broader pattern. Whether those conclusions ultimately prove correct remains uncertain. What is clear, however, is that the conversation surrounding Harry and Meghan has entered another chapter, and interest in what comes next appears to be growing rather than fading. So where does all of this leave the Sussex story? At the moment, it leaves far more questions than answers. Despite the wave of headlines and commentary, no one outside Harry and Meghan truly knows what their private conversations look like or what decisions, if any, are being considered behind closed doors. Still, the recent reporting has undeniably changed the tone of the public discussion. Many royal commentators believe the biggest difference is that conversations once limited to speculation are now being taken more seriously because of where the latest claims appeared. Whether those reports ultimately prove accurate remains to be seen, but they have encouraged people to re-examine the last several years through a different perspective. Events that once seemed unrelated are now being connected by commentators searching for a larger pattern. If the reports accurately reflect Harry's feelings, some analysts believe he now faces an additional challenge beyond whatever may be happening privately. Public attention has intensified once again, meaning every appearance, interview or statement is likely to be analysed even more closely than before. Fair or unfair, that level of scrutiny tends to follow globally recognised public figures, especially members of the royal family.
A lot of people like Meghan, I'm not a psychiatrist, but it seems like narcissism. A lot of people like Meghan never do that, and of course it's always someone else. But I wonder if Harry is ever going to have that moment saying, hey, if everyone is saying this, maybe they're right.
At the same time, commentators have also focused on Meghan's position. Over the years, she has faced intense media attention while continuing to launch new projects and maintain a public profile despite constant criticism and debate. Supporters see that as resilience, while critics interpret it differently. Regardless of where opinions fall, few would disagree that navigating public perception has become an ongoing part of her life. This latest situation, however, presents a different kind of challenge according to many royal observers. Rather than responding to another opinion piece or celebrity rumour, the discussion now centres on reporting from a publication that many readers view as more measured in its approach. Because of that, analysts believe the story may be harder to move past than previous rounds of speculation. Some experts have also noted that timing could play an important role. Harry and Meghan continue to build careers outside the royal family through media projects, public appearances, and charitable initiatives. Whenever new reports raise questions about their future, those discussions naturally overlap with conversations about upcoming ventures and how audiences may respond to them. Whether that ultimately has any lasting impact remains uncertain, but it has become a growing topic of conversation. What makes the situation particularly interesting is that no official statements have directly addressed many of the claims currently circulating. That absence of confirmation has left room for countless interpretations. Some commentators believe silence is the best approach, while others argue that it allows speculation to continue growing. Either way, the lack of clear answers has only increased public curiosity. Perhaps the most important takeaway is that this story is still unfolding. Reports, opinions, and anonymous sources can provide pieces of the picture, but they rarely tell the complete story. Until Harry or Meghan decide to publicly address these subjects, or unless new verified information emerges, much of the discussion will remain exactly that: discussion rather than certainty. For now, the only clear conclusion is that interest in the Sussexes shows little sign of fading. Every new report seems to spark another round of analysis, with supporters, critics, and royal experts all offering different interpretations of the same events. Whether the recent claims mark a turning point or simply another chapter in a long-running public story is something only time will reveal. Until then, the conversation surrounding Harry and Meghan is likely to continue, with every new development attracting just as much attention as the last. Here's a possible way to look at everything we've covered. Despite all the reports, expert opinions, and endless headlines, the most important thing to remember is that only Harry and Meghan know what their relationship is. Really, like behind closed doors. Much of what has dominated the news comes from reporting, anonymous sources, and commentary, which means the full picture remains private. Even so, the recent claims have certainly changed the direction of the conversation and left many royal watchers wondering what happens next.
Penguin Random House is done with the Sussexes. It will never publish another book by them. They were financially burned, my source.
For years, the Sussex story has been one of the most closely followed stories involving the royal family. It has included their decision to step back from royal duties, high-profile interviews, best-selling books, documentaries, charitable work, and business partnerships that attracted attention around the world. With every new chapter, public interest has continued to grow rather than fade, and this latest report has only added another layer to an already complex story. What makes this moment feel different for many commentators is that several discussions that were once treated as speculation are now being revisited through the lens of more recent reporting. Questions about Harry's future, Meghan's next career move, their business ventures, and their relationship with the royal family are all being discussed together instead of as separate stories. Whether those conversations eventually lead anywhere is something only time will answer. There is also the question of what comes next professionally. Harry and Meghan continue to have public platforms, charitable interests, and opportunities to pursue new projects. Their story is far from over, and history has shown that unexpected developments can happen at any time. A single interview, public appearance, or official announcement could completely reshape the conversation once again. That's one reason so many people continue following every new update so closely. At the same time, it's worth approaching every headline with a balanced perspective. Reports can offer valuable information, but they don't always reveal every detail behind the scenes. That's why it's important to separate confirmed facts from ongoing speculation, and remember that public narratives don't always reflect private realities. As this story continues to evolve, new information may confirm some claims while challenging others. One thing is certain, though, the interest surrounding Harry and Meghan isn't disappearing anytime soon. Every new report seems to create another round of debate among royal experts, journalists, and viewers who have followed this story from the very beginning. Whether the next chapter brings reconciliation, new projects, or an entirely unexpected direction, people around the world will undoubtedly be watching closely. Now we'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think the recent reports point toward a major turning point? Or do you believe they're simply another chapter in a story that has been filled with speculation for years? Let us know what you think in the comments below. We always enjoy reading your perspectives and seeing the different opinions our viewers bring to the discussion. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth celebrity news, royal updates, and entertainment stories. Your support really helps the channel grow and allows us to keep bringing you the latest developments. And before you go, make sure to check out the next video that's appearing on your screen right now. If you enjoy celebrity drama, royal stories, and the biggest entertainment headlines, you won't want to miss it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.